So you did it. You clicked the button. You're level 80. Yay! You understood the first 10 levels and then said, I can easily understand the other 70. But then you couldn't. Your skill bar is a hot mess of icons that you haven't seen before. Your map has a whole bunch of symbols that you are very confused about, and somehow you feel less in control than you did back when you were level 10. You thought that you were a hero carving out a path through legions of monsters, but instead you're just dazed and confused. But not to fret. I've talked about this problem a number of times, and luckily it isn't an end-all be-all problem. It simply means that you will have to change your strategy in approaching the game. This is what I would recommend you doing first, after you have used your level 80 boost a little bit too early. If you are new to the game, then I ask you like the video and subscribe to the channel for more Guild Wars 2 content. Also, as mentioned previously, I am a Guild Wars 2 ArenaNet partner. If you are interested in purchasing the expansions from Guild Wars 2, you can use my link down below. It does not discount the price, however, it does offer me a little bit of kickback. Anyway, let's get into this. All right, first things first, we have to deal with that chaos that is on your skill bar. When you boost, the game generously gives you a full set of level 80 exotic gear with celestial stats. Exotic gear is the tier below the best stats in game, which is ascended or legendary gear. Now, Celestial stat line is actually very awesome. It's kind of like a jack of all trades. It gives you a little bit of every stat that is available, which means that it doesn't really excel at any one thing. However, this is a blessing because it gives you a bit of flexibility to make mistakes and then trial other different build paths. For a new player, this of course can feel a little bit unfocused and a bit weak because you don't know which skills actually benefit from this spread. However, our first mission is to create a simple and effective build that you can actually understand. And to save you time, I would not recommend spending the next 3 hours reading wikis or staring at spreadsheets or anything like that. Simply, we need to get a build. In Guild Wars 2, you can share entire builds just by using the build template code. It's a string of text that you can copy from a website or from other players and paste into your game, and poof, all of your traits and skills are instantly set up. It's a lifesaver and a time saver. What we're going to look for first is an open world build for your profession. Websites like GuildJen, MetaBattle, Hardstuck, they all have sections full of builds designed specifically for solo play, map completion, and just having a good time exploring. They're built to be a little bit durable, more forgiving, and very easy to understand. When you find one that is for your class, remember we are looking at the core professions, because when you level 80 boost, it does not give you any of the elite specializations unlocked yet. Those will have to be done at a later time. Now, for some of these builds, you may need to purchase the weapons that are associated with it. However, sometimes you can just brute force it. For example, for this core power build, I am using a scepter and a dagger, where this build recommends an axe and a focus. Copy the template code, and then once you are back in game, open up your hero panel, go to build tab, and select, and then paste that into the box and hit OK. And just like that, your skills and traits are set. Now, before you do anything else, I would recommend actually reading the tooltips for the skills that are slotted for you. Now, I personally can't sit there and read and digest and do all those things immediately, so I would just recommend just glancing over them, getting an idea of what they're doing, pressing the ones that you can. Oh, this one is a gap closer, or you know, this one blocks an attack. Okay, this one heals you. This isn't really about mastering your class in 5 minutes. It's about trying to kind of like build a baseline. So we've given the information, and you know what happens when you press a button. Something predictable and effective happens. You are already more dangerous than you were about 5 minutes ago. Now we go on to practice. So now that you've got a build that makes sense, you might not understand about every synergy of the build, but your skills now have a clear purpose. So where do you go and try them out? Staying here in the Silver Waste full of soul-crushing Mordremoth monsters? No, I wouldn't recommend that. We're gonna go back to the beginning. Open up your map and go back to one of the level 1 through 15 starting zones. So if you're a human, that's Queensdale, Char, Plains of Ashford, Norn, Wayfarer Hills, Azura, Matrika Province, and Silvari, Kaldane, Fars. Pick one, any one, and travel there. The idea here isn't to have loot or experience, it's basically practice. Because you're level 80, the game will automatically scale you down to the power to match that zone. You'll still have all the awesome skills and traits that you've already unlocked. You'll be fighting against enemies that can't 2 or 3 shot you for making a mistake. Now, this is like your personal training ground, we'll say. Find a simple enemy, a boar, a bandit, a mob, and just fight it. Just pay attention. Use your first weapon skill, see what it does. Use your second weapon skill, get your third, and so on and so forth. When the enemy winds up for attack, practice your dodge. Actively dodging damage is one of the most important skills in the game. You know that giant red circle on the ground, dodge out of it. Get the feeling of the timing. This is also a good recommendation to keybind your dodge roll to something. I have it set up for my Q button, but that's just me. Now, look at your utility skills. The ones that on the keys are 6 through 9. Maybe one gives you a speed boost, or another one makes you like invisible. Maybe another summons a pet to fight with you. Use them one by one, read the tooltip, press the button, see what happens. This low pressure environment is the best way to learn what your character can do without the high stress of dangerous enemies that can actually demolish you. Spend 15-20 minutes here just playing. Fight stuff, wander around. You'll learn more about your class in this short time period than you did in the single click it took you to hit level 80. So now that you've gotten that kind of like direction, you feel a little bit more confident in your build. Are you feeling ready to take on something a little bit more challenging? Or okay, good. Then you need to have a little bit of direction. Whenever you open up the map, it is, of course, an overwhelming, just giant to-do list. So let's shrink it down into something a little bit more manageable. Now, these 3 goals are what I would recommend for you to get introduced into the core gameplay of Guild Wars 2. The first goal is to just go ahead and complete some renowned hearts, 2 or 3. And you'll see these littered all over the place, especially if you're in the starter zones. Basically, these are mini quests that you don't really have to formally accept. It's kind of like indentured servitude. Just walk into the area, the task list pops up, and you might fight some bad guys, revive some friendlies, or click a shiny object or 2. Do these things, fill the heart, and the area NPC will turn into a vendor. Doing these will teach you how to understand the importance of doing renowned hearts and then the rewards of doing so. Your next goal is to unlock 3 hero points. You'll also see these littered all over the maps as well. Now, you need hero points to fully unlock all of your elite specializations, which is really cool is because that's that quote-unquote upgraded version of your class that the boost gave you access to. In the starting zone, these challenges are simple. They're so simple. Usually it's just like one veteran level mob, and or you might have to take down a few mobs all at the same time. Or go channel energy from a glowing spot. Go and find about 2 or 3 of them. This is making real progress onto your character, and also getting you used to hunting down objectives. And the last goal is to do a world boss. Now, this sounds way more intimidating than it actually is. World bosses are giant events that dozens or maybe even 100 or so players will team up to defeat a massive enemy. The best part? You really just have to show up and follow the herd. Like, you don't really have to do anything good. You don't have to be the best player, and you get credit. One of the easiest ones is the Fire Elemental in Matrika Province, or the Shadow Behemoth in Queensdale. In the game's chat, type in the code /wiki-WB and hit enter. This will open up a web page with a live timer when the bosses are spawning. It's such a crucial lesson in Guild Wars 2 gameplay that this is a cooperative experience where you don't even really have to be a part of a formal party, and you still get a whole bunch of rewards. It's great. Now, these 3 are just recommendations. If you think that they're superfluous, then of course, feel free to skip them. They are not by any means necessary. But this is the idea to give you a practical grasp of quests, character progression, and large-scale meta events. This is the basic gameplay loop of the open world in Guild Wars 2. Now that you've already gotten a better idea of how your character plays, you have a build that's working for you, and you've even knocked out a world boss or 2, what now? This is where the real fun begins. There is a ton of different directions that you can go into from here. Now, Guild Wars 2 functions very much off of a goal-oriented playstyle. Usually, when players are going through their time here in Guild Wars 2, they are focusing on earning a legendary, or completing an achievement, or saving up gold, just to name a few. And the true thought process of this is that Guild Wars 2 gives you that freedom to decide where you want to go, and it can be overwhelming. I've linked a video at the very end of this one to show you what I would recommend doing at level 80. But some players might feel the need to just do all the story quests that you have instantly skipped. Again, you can do that and understand the story of Corteria, not necessary. Some players might just want to follow around other world bosses and see what there is going on. That is a possibility too. There are a ton of different directions that you can go into. And that's why Guild Wars 2 is great at freedom of choice. The last point that I would make is that even if you already boosted your character and you have a level 80 and you really just don't like the playstyle, or you feel like maybe it's something you don't want to continue, I've made this recommendation before. Just park it. Just park your ult. Just park it right there, create another character, level up the traditional way, understand the gameplay and do all that, explore the world. It's a lot of fun. And then when you feel more confident with the game and all the inventory mess and all the items and everything else that goes into the game, then come back to your character and go from there. It makes the idea of a level 80 boost a lot less daunting, as I've made this recommendation before. All right, so let's go ahead and kind of recap. You started this video feeling like you made, of course, a big mistake, but hopefully now you feel like you got a little bit of control back. You found a functional build that gives you the confidence to fight enemies, and you practiced and learned their abilities. You went through and understand the core gameplay loop of open world and Guild Wars 2, and you're ready to go. The problem was never that you hit level 80. The problem really comes from the overwhelming amount of choices and decisions that you can make when you are at max level. Hopefully, by narrowing these down, it's given you a bit of a foundation and some confidence that you can continue on to this game with your level 80 boost. And again, as mentioned from here, you can go quite literally any different direction. Honestly, the game is so great for you to be able to find your footing, work towards achievements, join a guild. There's so much that you can do in this game. There's so much. And mastering your character is something that I would recommend doing first, because everything else comes second nature after that. As mentioned, if you are just hitting level 80 and you're kind of confused of where you should go and what you should do, click this video here to see what I would recommend when you hit level 80 for the first time. As always, stay caffeinated, folks.